Imagine waking up in Crimea and hearing this. The bridges are gone. The lifelines that connect Russia's forces to the peninsula have been shattered. Trains aren't bringing reinforcements anymore. They're fleeing. That's not just a headline, that's the reality Ukraine just created. For months, Moscow's generals bragged that Crimea was untouchable. They said their supply chains were secure, their bridges indestructible, and their military presence permanent. But Ukraine has just proved them wrong. With a wave of precision strikes, Ukraine targeted the main railway arteries that feed Crimea with troops, weapons, and fuel. And the results? Chaos. Picture the scene. Massive explosions rip through the night, railway lines buckle, trains packed with ammunition screech to a halt, and terrified crews scramble to reverse direction. The bridges connecting Crimea to mainland Ukraine's occupied zones are now crippled. Supply trucks wait for orders that never come. Russian soldiers stranded on the peninsula whisper the same chilling thought. We might be cut off for good. Let's be clear, Crimea isn't just some piece of land for Moscow. It's the crown jewel of Putin's empire, the symbol of his power and the key to controlling the Black Sea. But without secure supply routes, that jewel becomes a trap. Every Russian train fleeing Crimea is a reminder that even Putin's most prized territory can be strangled. So how did Ukraine pull this off? Reports suggest a combination of drones, long-range missiles, and sabotage teams working together. This wasn't just a lucky hit. It was a coordinated strike meant to cripple Russia's logistics. And it worked. The bridges weren't just damaged, they were neutralized. That means no heavy trains, no consistent resupply, no smooth evacuation. For Russia, it's like fighting with one arm tied behind its back. Now think about what this does to the soldiers stuck in Crimea. They're watching their fuel run low, their ammo stockpiles shrink, and their evacuation routes vanish. Morale? Collapsing. Desperation? Rising. And fear? Sky high. Because if the peninsula can't be reinforced, then Ukraine has just opened the door to the unthinkable, taking back Crimea itself. But here's where it gets even bigger. Every time a bridge or railway link is destroyed, Moscow isn't just losing steel and concrete, it's losing time. And in war, time is deadly. While Russia scrambles to repair broken tracks and reroute supplies, Ukraine pushes harder, faster, deeper. That's why trains aren't rushing in, they're rushing out. And let's not forget the political explosion this creates back in Moscow. Ordinary Russians see images of trains retreating from Crimea and they start asking dangerous questions. If Crimea can't be defended, if Moscow's billion-dollar bridges can be reduced to rubble, then what does that say about Putin's war? About Russia's future? The symbolism is devastating. Trains fleeing instead of fighting, bridges collapsing instead of standing tall. Moscow losing its grip on the very territory it once celebrated. So what happens next? Ukraine knows it doesn't have to storm Crimea overnight. It just has to choke it, strangle it, and wait for the cracks to widen. Every destroyed bridge, every sabotaged train, every broken supply chain pushes Russia closer to an impossible choice. Pour endless resources into a collapsing front, or abandon Crimea altogether. The world is watching. NATO analysts are watching. Even inside Russia, eyes are glued to Crimea because they know this battle could decide the entire war. If Ukraine severs Crimea permanently, the Black Sea flips. Russia loses its military hub, and Putin faces the biggest humiliation of his career. This is no longer just about strategy. It's about survival. For Russia, Crimea is slipping away. For Ukraine, victory has never felt closer. And for the rest of the world, one thing is clear. The war's most explosive chapter is unfolding right now. The bridges are gone. The trains are fleeing. And the question is no longer if Russia will lose Crimea, it's how soon. Like, share, and subscribe, because this story is just beginning.